Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. Crying really was the best way to vent one's feelings. After wetting Enea's shoulder with his tears, the sound of weeping gradually stopped. "Enea, am I weak?" Tang Wulin asked after he raised his head and wiped away his tears. Enea shook her head vigorously. Tang Wulin looked at the spirit soul in his hand. The tiny grass snake was moving about within the spirit soul ball in a carefree manner. "You can go first, Enea. I want to fuse with this spirit soul," Tang Wulin said bitterly. Enea hesitated and said, "But this one isn't any good." Tang Wulin forced out a smile. "It's already difficult for Mom and Dad to provide for us, so I can't increase their burden. Dad said he would help me earn the money to buy another one just now, but our family doesn't have much money to begin with. I can't let Mom and Dad carry another burden for my sake. Even if it's not too good, it's still a spirit soul. It'll still let me become an official soul master. Also, Dad won't have to face any more difficulties after I fuse with it." Enea blankly stared at him. "Big brother." Tang Wulin gave her a big smile. "I'm fine. It was only a dream of mine anyways. Maybe becoming a master forger is most suitable for me after all." At this moment, Tang Wulin's profound smile was engraved within her heart. It was the kind of optimistic smile of relief and helplessness which masked the depth of his sorrows. His eyes followed Enea as she left the room. Then he bit his lip and turned his gaze towards the grass snake once again. In that moment, as he gazed at it, all sorts of feelings began to well up within his heart. He knew that after fusing with this spirit soul, he would lose any chance of achieving his dream of becoming a powerful soul master. But what could he do? He gently touched the spirit soul ball within his hand. A spirit soul didn't possess much of a material existence, much less a low-grade spirit soul such as this one. His finger gently passed through the grass snake's body. It seemed to have felt it, as it uncoiled itself. Even though it had an illusory form, it was still able to twist around his finger and intimately stick out its little forked tongue as if to lick him. He brought his hand up to his face, allowing him to clearly look into the grass snake spirit soul's small brown eyes. Its eyes were cloudy and unfocused, with a hint of terror to its confusion. It was also a living being and would permanently dissipate if he didn't fuse with it within 24 hours. A trash martial soul and a defective spirit soul. That's very fitting. Tang Wulin mocked himself as he flipped his palm, releasing soul power to summon a faint blue halo from which the blue-silver grass appeared from. The grass snake could instinctively sense the existence of the blue-silver grass as it climbed up Tang Wulin's finger, quickly reaching the blue-silver grass. The soft blue light glowing from the blue-silver grass suddenly released a powerful radiance. When the light fell upon the grass snake, a faint earthen yellow ring of light emerged from its body. This was the first time Tang Wulin fused with a spirit soul, but Lin Shimen had taught their class about spirit souls as well as what fusion felt like long ago. A feeble mind penetrated into Tang Wulin's head. It felt amiable and frightened, but it was also brimming with a feeling of dependence. Tang Wulin opened up his soul and accepted it inside. Changes immediately began to arise upon the blue-silver grass while its soul power surged forth. He closed his eyes and silently entered a state of meditation as his fusion began. The little grass snake twisted and turned within his palms. Apart from that first connection between the two of them, nothing else had been transmitted. This was the intelligence of spirit soul of the lowest grade. The more powerful a spirit soul was, the more intelligent it would be. A spirit soul above the purple rank was even capable of communicating with its host. Legends say that a spirit soul that surpassed that rank could even help the host in battle. However, legends were only legends to Tang Wulin. The little grass snake's earthen yellow body gradually took on a blue tint while the blade of blue-silver grass rapidly grew. The originally weak and frail grass harmoniously curled up and gradually grew until it was about as thick as a finger with an appearance similar to that of a vine's. Upon a careful inspection, vestiges of scales could be found on the blade of grass. It now possessed a dark luster similar to the grass snake's. Although it was rougher, it still seemed as frail as before. The grass snake's body had grown a bit and was now approximately 8 centimeters long. A blue smear had also appeared upon its scales. The fusion smoothly finished. The grass snake's spiritual power was too weak, it was basically impossible for it to resist at all. Although the blue-silver grass was a trash martial soul, Tang Wulin's spiritual power had already reached the intermediate rank of the spirit origin realm, thus allowing him to dominate in this fusion. The blade of blue-silver grass had grown longer and had become a vine which coiled around his body. Tang Wulin's soul power began to violently fluctuate as it met with the bottleneck and surged through, breaking through and evolving his martial soul at the same time. Tang Wulin's whole body felt light as the condensed soul power within his dantian had countless threads penetrating into every single cell of his body. The cells in his body were aroused and brimming with energy. They were filled with a light-hearted and worry-free feeling which finally relieved the depression within his heart. Right at that moment, Tang Wulin suddenly felt a wave of heat coming from his tailbone. This heat soon turned into a scorching hot sensation which traveled up his spine before continuing to spread throughout his body. The aura around his body had experienced a slight change after this. The blade of blue-silver grass which had just finished evolving and the little grass snake suddenly stiffened and froze in place. The faint golden vein pattern appeared once again, rapidly descending from Tang Wulin's forehead while the golden thread from his tailbone quickly rose. The two golden lights met at the apex of his vertebra and merged into one. This golden color was much clearer than before. It hadn't only spread all over his body, but also onto the little grass snake in his palm and the blue-silver grass which had just finished evolving. The originally dark and gloomy blue-silver grass now had a slender golden line along it, reaching all the way to its tip. Another change arose in it under the influence of the golden vein pattern. It was as if the dull vine-like grass had suddenly gained a skeleton and its tenacity had drastically increased. Moreover, the grass's dull surface gradually gained a glossy luster with a faintly discernible blue halo and a slender gold stripe. It appeared more striking than before. The same transformation appeared on the little grass snake as its earthen yellow body gradually turned yellow. Its scales stuck out a bit now, and they contained a distinct radiance to them. Those golden stripes extended from its tail and up its body, converging at a single point on its head. The grass snake grew 1 centimeter from its previous 8 centimeters. Its protruding tiny scales had turned golden in color. The murky look in its eyes was gone, replaced with clarity. So hot. Ah, so hot. Tang Wulin wasn't aware of what was happening to his body. The only thing he could feel at the moment was an indescribable pain from an intense heat, as if his body was being smelted inside a furnace. After an unknown period of time, the scorching heat began to cool down. However, it was replaced by a numbness which permeated throughout the 4 limbs and 100 bones. It was as if a myriad of insects was crawling about within his body. Tang Wulin wanted to cry out in pain, but he was unable to release a single sound. He already began to look back fondly at the scorching heat he had experienced beforehand. The pain tormented him to the point that his body wished for a release of death, but his mind was abnormally clear. He could clearly feel all of the pain throughout his body. If the spirit master from before were here to test his spiritual power, he would have discovered that Tang Wulin's spiritual power continually rose under this torment. The pain in his body gradually disappeared and his fuzzy consciousness went with it. Under his clothes drenched in sweat, the golden vein pattern hadn't waned at all, instead, it had permeated into his skin. The blue-silver grass moved like a receding tide as the little grass snake climbed onto the hollow of Tang Wulin's palm and entered it. The golden scales upon its forehead returned to normal as its body returned to its original dullness. When Tang San joyously returned home, he encountered Enea blocking the doorway. "Big brother is fusing with the spirit soul. You can't go in," Enea resolutely said as she gazed at Tang San. Tang San asked with a dull voice, "What did you say?" "He's already begun fusing with it." Enea nodded. "Big brother said that he didn't want it to burden mom and dad." Tang San stumbled a few steps backwards and collapsed into a chair. His expression changed in an instant as pain colored his face. He forcefully struck his own head and said to himself, Tang San, why can't you face reality? Why must you be so weak? It's because of your weakness that you've harmed your child. The large federal coins he clutched in his hand spilled onto the table. It was too late. It was too late. He suddenly lifted his head. Enea, how long has Lin Lin been fusing with the spirit soul? Enea said, he started shortly after you left. Tang San cried out in alarm, he still hasn't finished? He should have already finished after so long. Let's go take a look quickly. Enea hesitated for a moment before nodding her head. After he opened the door, Tang San saw Tang Wulin lying on the bed. Lin Lin! He cried as he flew over to Tang Wulin's side. The spirit soul ball was left beside the bed, already devoid of the grass snake spirit soul. Tang Wulin's brow creased as he lay on the bed, his clothes completely soaked in sweat. Tang San blamed himself within his heart. He thoroughly understood that such a situation shouldn't have occurred during a spirit-soul fusion. It was highly likely that his son encountered an accident while he was fusing. Tang Wulin was immersed in deep sleep. Fortunately, his vital signs were normal. 2 streams of tears flowed down his cheek as Tang San tightly embraced his son. His son was only 9 years old, yet had to bear so much already. I'm sorry, son. Dad is so sorry. It's all because of Dad's incompetence. Enea stood to the side and silently watched as Tang San cried. Once again, a look of perplexion colored her pretty purple eyes. In the evening, Tang Wulin woke up. As he opened his eyes, he gradually regained awareness of his surroundings. He abruptly sat up, sensing the changes within his body. The scorching heat and numbness had already completely disappeared and his body now felt as light as a feather. What's more, his clothes had already been swapped for a set of clean, fresh ones. Breathing had even turned into a type of pleasure for him as his whole body felt free and invigorated. The soul power within his body had strengthened by a lot. With just a thought, a layer of soul power emanated from his body. Rank 11. He had broken through and entered realm of rank 11 soul power, officially becoming a soul master. Although the little grass snake was indeed a defective spirit soul, it still managed to complete its mission. Its heart was full of sadness as it entered Tang Wulin's body. Tang Wulin thought to himself, even if I can't become a powerful soul master, I still have the support of soul power. At the very least, I'll be able to become a pretty good blacksmith. After thinking these thoughts, he swung his arms out energetically. Pa! A popping sound resounded in the room. Tang Wulin was astonished at the feeling in that instant when he had waved his arm through the air. What kind of situation was this? The door opened before he had the chance to try again as 3 adults and 1 child entered the room. Son, you all right? Lang Yu had already burst into tears as she rushed ahead and embraced Tang Wulin. The sky had darkened outside of the window. Surprisingly, it was already evening. Tang Wulin still remembered that he had begun fusing in the morning. It had actually taken him this long? Aside from Lang Yu, Tang San, and Enea, there was one other person. That person was Tang Wulin's forging teacher, Mang Tien. Tang Wulin hadn't gone to work that day, so Mang Tien had called over with a soul communicator. After finding out about this matter, he immediately rushed over. I'm fine, Mom. Tang Wulin softly said. Lang Yu looked down towards her son and firmly said, Son, let's not try to become soul masters anymore, just staying as an ordinary person is fine. Tang Wulin smiled. Mom, I really am fine. It's just that I'm a true soul master now. I'm at rank 11. My fusion finished without a hitch. That grass snake spirit soul was really suitable for my martial soul. If it was a powerful spirit soul, I can't say for sure that I would have been able to fuse with it. Lang Yu's tears couldn't help but surge forth again when she heard her son's comforting words. Tang San let out a sigh. The matter was finished, continuing the conversation would be pointless. It was impossible to reverse a spirit-soul fusion. It would only upset Tang Wulin more if he was told that Tang San had managed to secure the money. Rank 11? Bring out your martial soul and let me take a look, Mang Qian said with a deep and resounding voice. Tang Wulin finally noticed him and hastily said, "Teacher." Mang Qian nodded. "Come here." Tang Wulin looked at his mother, then his teacher, before jumping off the bed. He lifted his right hand and with just a thought, the dim room immediately lit up. A white ring of light slowly rose from his feet and revolved rhythmically around his body. This was a Soul Master's soul ring. A white soul ring represented a 10-year soul ring, the lowest type. Spirit souls hadn't existed 10,000 years ago when soul rings were still the most defining characteristic of a soul master. Tang Wulin opened up his hand to reveal a brilliant yellow radiance. Within it appeared the little grass snake. Immediately afterward, a slender blade of blue vine-like grass as thick as a finger twirled into existence. The vine spread outwards, quickly spreading into every corner of the room. This was the first time he had released his martial soul since he had become a true soul master. The difference between not having a soul ring before and having one now was as different as black and white. He felt as if this grass was an extension of his own consciousness. Anything it touched would be immediately transmitted back to him. In fact, he could even sense the elated mood that the little grass snake sent. This feeling was much clearer than during his fusion. Despite the fact that it was merely a 10-year soul ring, the rhythmic up and down motion of the white light still basked Tang Wulin's body with a radiant luster. This was the glamour of a soul master. Even a single soul ring would make a soul master and an ordinary person as different as night and day. Lang Yu was stunned, Tang Ziran's eyes finally regained some determination, and Enea was once again at a loss. Mang Qian lifted up his arm and pulled on some blue-silver grass. It seemed as if these slender vines were really weak. After all, how could a trash martial soul and a defective spirit soul fuse together to produce a good evolution? Mang Qian's heart was a bit dreary as he looked towards Tang Wulin and said, "Don't be discouraged. Although your spirit soul isn't too good, you have still become a true soul master. Your soul power now has space to continue growing. The possession of soul power will prove helpful to any profession you choose." 10,000 years ago, many soul masters had approved of the first soul tools because their martial souls and soul rings weren't powerful. It was with the help of soul tools that they were able to increase their own power. The same goes with mechas. As long as you have soul power, you can still become a mecha master even if without the aid of a powerful spirit soul. A mecha master with a weak martial soul but a formidable strength isn't necessarily impossible. Soul power is also very useful when forging. It can sharpen your senses while also increasing your strength. Mang Qian released the blue-silver grass as he said this, letting it fall onto the ground to make a crisp sound. "Ah!" Mang Qian revealed a look of surprise as he once again picked up the blue-silver grass. His brows immediately creased. Tang Wulin's heart was filled with hope again at Mang Qian's words. Even if he couldn't become a powerful soul master, he could still become a formidable mecha master. "Brother Mang, what is it?" Tang Ziran noticed Mang Qian's reaction, and asked thoughtlessly. Mang Qian didn't speak. Instead, he grabbed some blue-silver grass and tried to pull it apart. One could only imagine the physical strength he possessed as a blacksmith. However, the blue-silver grass only straightened out when he pulled it without any signs of it snapping. This seemingly weak existence was unexpectedly so tenacious. "Your blue-silver grass is a bit abnormal," Mang Qian said to Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin doubtfully asked, "Teacher, what part of it is abnormal?" Mang Qian answered, "First of all is its weight. I didn't feel it at first, but I noticed when it fell onto the ground that the sound it made wasn't light at all. After inspecting it again, I discovered that although it is very slender, its body is actually very heavy. It's even heavier than a vine. Blue-silver grass with only one soul ring shouldn't possess this type of attribute. Let me test it again first." His eyes suddenly began shining as he said this when 4 soul rings appeared, 1 white, 2 yellow and 1 purple. They immediately lit up the room. As a fellow soul master, Tang Wulin subconsciously retreated from the aura released by Mang Qian. Tang Wulin was shocked into speechlessness. According to how soul masters were ranked, 0 to 10 were soul scholars, ranks 11 to 20 were soul masters, and after every 10 ranks they would be promoted to a new title. After Soul Master was Soul Grandmaster, Soul Elder, Soul Ancestor, Soul King, Soul Emperor, Soul Sage, Soul Doluo, and at the very peak with 9 soul rings, titled Duluos. His blacksmithing master was unexpectedly a powerful soul ancestor with 4 soul rings. After the soul rings appeared, 3 spirit souls became visible on Mang Tien's shoulders. The first one was the smallest and weakest, a tiny rabbit. It was crawling about his body while emitting a white ring of light. The yellow spirit soul was a pair of hammers that flickered with a yellow shine. Artificial spirit soul manufacturing process could even make tool spirit souls. It would be impossible for a tool spirit soul to appear naturally. The last spirit soul was purple, a brown bear that was about a meter tall with 2 unusually thick arms. It looked very fierce as it bared its fangs whilst jumping down upon Mang Tien's shoulders as if it was deciding who it wanted to bite. In addition to the 3 types of spirit souls released, Mang Tien's martial soul was also shown. It was actually a hammer that glowed with a dim white light nearly identical in appearance to a forging hammer. On top of the hammer were some deep brown vein lines. Mang Tien's martial soul was the earth hammer. After releasing his martial soul, Mang Tien appeared much more imposing as well as magnificent. His first spirit soul shined for a moment before the little white rabbit transformed into a layer of white light that covered his body. First soul skill, 10-year soul ability, tenacity. This was an ordinary soul skill that made Mang Tien's muscles more flexible and powerful. Mang Tien forcefully pulled on the blue-silver grass with the backing of his soul skill as well as his formidable soul power. A bizarre scene appeared in front of them all. Everyone, including Tang Wulin, expected the blue-silver grass to be torn apart. Unexpectedly, however, the dim body of the blue-silver grass began to shine under the opposing forces exerted upon it. It twinkled with a blue radiance as it turned translucent, revealing a faint golden light from the veins within. Even as Mang Tien continued to pull at it, it showed no desire of breaking. However, Tang Wulin felt his soul power throb for a moment before it abruptly decreased. "Ayo!" he cried out. Mang Tien looked towards him in surprise. "Did you feel something?" Tang Wulin told the truth and said, "It seems like my soul power has been consumed." Mang Tien revealed a complex expression as he looked at his disciple. He no longer tried to pull apart the blue-silver grass. Instead, he recalled his martial soul and spirit souls, then released the grass. Tang Ziran anxiously asked, "Brother Mang, what's the situation?" Mang Tien gave him a slight smile. "It seems that the heavens haven't abandoned this child. I'm certain that his martial soul is a variant, and what's more, it's a good kind of variant." "Variant?" Tang Wulin was at a loss when he heard this word, as he had never learned anything about variant martial souls. Mang Tien answered, "Under special circumstances, variations can arise in the martial soul. For example, fusing with a highly compatible or highly incompatible spirit soul or soul ring, or being stimulated by an external factor, will all create the circumstances necessary for variation to occur. It's also possible for someone to be born with a variant martial soul or that their martial soul undergoes variation during awakening. There are good and bad kinds of variations. It's possible for a powerful martial soul to be weakened by its variation. On the other hand, it's also possible for a weak martial soul to become powerful due to the variation." His eyes contained a profoundness in them as he looked at Tang Wulin and said, "Everyone knows that blue-silver grass is a trash martial soul, but a snake-type spirit soul is nevertheless still very suitable for it. Generally speaking, it is possible for blue-silver grass to transform into a vine. However, with a martial soul like blue-silver grass, the odds of soul power appearing was simply impossibly low. However, I knew someone in the past who also had blue-silver grass. When he cultivated to rank 10, he too fused with a snake-type spirit soul and his blue-silver grass became a vine even thicker than yours. Yet, it was still very weak. I didn't even need to utilize my martial soul in order to tear it apart. However, your blue-silver grass is completely different. Even with my first soul skill, I still wasn't able to tear it apart. Common sense would dictate this to be impossible. This is also the first time that I have seen a martial soul's strength in relation to one's soul power. That is to say, it would have been impossible for me to tear apart your blue-silver grass until your soul power ran out. I can't think of any other explanation other than a martial soul variation. Tang Wulin sluggishly looked at Mang Tien. Teacher, so this is a good thing? Mang Tien answered, of course this is good. However, it isn't absolutely good. It'll all depend on how well you control your martial soul. Logically, when blue-silver grass becomes a vine, you should be able to develop towards the control system. Your soul skills should mostly be of the basic harassing vine type. In the scenario that you are able to entwine your opponent, as long as your opponent's soul power is higher than yours, he'll be able to struggle free while also exhausting your soul power. Thus, it will turn into a war of attrition. You won't have any chances of winning in that case. Therefore, it wouldn't be too bad to use your blue-silver grass more like a whip. Moreover, who knows if there'll be another variation once you obtain your second soul ring. Due to this, I can't judge how it will turn out in the future, but at the very least, it's promising. From now on, it's no longer a trash martial soul. You can consider yourself to have profited from a disaster. Really? Tang Wulin asked. He looked towards Mang Tien with an expression that revealed his reluctance to believe. It wasn't a trash martial soul anymore? Even if it's not a powerful one, at least it's no longer a trash martial soul. Mang Tien said with a dull voice, you saw it just now. My first soul ring is a white 10-year spirit soul, and is equally as weak. However, I was also able to obtain a 100-year spirit soul after putting in great effort. Moreover, I was even able to obtain a 1,000-year spirit soul. Due to me being a blacksmith, I'm able to earn enough money to buy the spirit souls that I wanted. You're very talented at forging, so anything that I'm able to do, you will be able to do as well. Nothing could move someone as much as being able to sympathize with someone in a similar situation. The depression within Tang Wulin's heart had been wiped clean. He didn't have a trash martial soul anymore, and he also had his teacher as a goal for the future now. This reignited the hope in his heart. I still have a chance at becoming a powerful soul master. You didn't request a leave of absence today from work and you didn't show up, so I'll deduct 1 day's worth of wages from your pay. Mang Tien made to leave after saying this, but Tang Wulin's excitement wasn't influenced in the least. He jumped up and gave Mang Tien a big hug. You're so light, Mang Tien said in surprise. Yet, this child's strength. After Mang Tien left, the Tang family's cloud of worries and fog of cruelty had transformed into an atmosphere of joy. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad. I made you too worry. Tang Wulin was somewhat ashamed as he said this. Lang Yu once again pulled her son's head into her bosom. It's us who should be apologizing. You're still so young, yet you have to bear such a large burden already. Tang Ziran lowered his head as if to contemplate some unknown matters. Enea's lips quivered a bit. It seemed that she wanted to say something, but wasn't able to do so in the end. After eating dinner, another day had passed by once again. Tang Ziran and Lang Yu slept early that night while Enea also entered the land of dreams in a similarly tired state. Only Tang Wulin was left awake. He quietly snuck out of the house and went to the garden where he had previously made a breakthrough. After sitting down, his heart began to stir as he gazed at the bright moon in the sky. From joy to sorrow, he once again had hope. What he experienced this day influenced him far more than anything else in the past 3 years. With a thought, the little grass snake appeared in the hollow of his palm. Thank you, little fellow. You have given me hope, yet I turned my back on you. I'm so sorry, Tang Wulin softly said. The little grass snake seemed to have sensed something as it raised its head slightly and flicked its tongue. Tang Wulin smiled. I'll give you a name, all right? We're going to be partners from now on. A spirit soul would accompany its master for life, and would dissipate only upon its master's death. The little grass snake seemed to understand his words and gently wiggled its body in response. Tang Wulin said, now what's a good name for you? Right at that moment, the little grass snake's body suddenly began to shine. The little scale on its forehead flashed a golden light. Yi? Is this also due to the variation? He firmly believed in the words of his teacher without a single doubt. His martial soul had undergone variation and was no longer an ordinary, trashy blue-silver grass. That gold color was really pretty just now. How about you flash it one more time for me to see? Is that fine? Tang Wulin giggled as he spoke. However, the little grass snake showed no reaction to his words. It couldn't fully comprehend Tang Wulin's desire with its low intelligence. This type of low-level spirit soul could only offer one soul ring, and couldn't give any other type of aid. Tang Wulin's heart stirred as he said, "You can turn golden, so I'll call you Gold Light. How's that? If your whole body can turn into gold in the future, then just think of how formidable you'll be." Naturally, the little grass snake couldn't reject at all. Thus, its name was decided to be Gold Light. A simple name, yet brimming with beauty and freedom. This video will end here.